All right, it's November 9th. I just want to remind everybody that Thursday, I don't know even what I'm talking about. Today is Monday. On Wednesday, we do not have class. Can somebody tell me why? Yes, sir. So take some time to honor your veterans, maybe by doing something for your community. We certainly know that our veterans put it all on the line for their country, so maybe we can do something for our community as well on Veterans Day. All right, so veteran, what's that now? That's Wednesday, it's Veterans Day, yes, sir. And also keep in mind that Lawson is closed on Wednesday, so it's not, sometimes I get emails from advisees or such on Wednesday saying I'm trying to reach the registrar's office and they won't answer. And it's like, well, it's closed. It's a holiday, right? So kind of keep that in mind that Lawson is closed. If you do rely on Lawson for resources, or if you're trying to communicate with them, just either plan ahead and get it done on Tuesday or just wait till Thursday because things will be closed up on Wednesday so that we can all honor our veterans and, as I said, maybe do something for our community. All right. We have an essay due this week. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then I'm going to talk about weeks 14 and 15. We know how to write an essay at this point. We know all I'll put a copy of the essay jobs checklist in this week just so that you can remind yourself of those jobs of a thesis paragraph and the jobs of a body paragraph and the jobs of a concluding paragraph. What's your topic this week? That's the mode that we're studying. That's the mode that we're using. We're using the evaluative mode. What's our topic? What are we writing about? What are we evaluating? Right, the short films. Okay, how many short films are you evaluating? No. How many short films are you evaluating in this essay? One. That's right. So, well, that's important because I've had students do one paragraph for each film and then have to do the essay over again. So that's a pretty important clarification. You're choosing one film to say whether you liked it or disliked it and why, right? What are our three body paragraphs? Is that a summary of the beginning of the movie, middle of the movie, end of the movie, or not? If you don't know, don't answer. Wait and listen and see somebody does know the answer. What are our three body paragraphs this time? Yes, ma'am. A, B, and C from the outline. And Jayla, what are those? Right. Do you remember what we called the three things that we were talking about? They are the body paragraphs. I'm asking what the body paragraphs are each discussing. They're each discussing one of these things. What are the things? Are they scenes from the movie? Are they Okay, so they're what you either liked about or disliked about it. So it's the criteria that you're using to make your assessment, right? And that word is important to understand that we are setting out criteria for making our decision. And this is a really crucial part of evaluating and evaluative writing. Notice that every time I give you a grade, I use a rubric, right? There are certain criteria that you have to hit, and I have to mark you on those. I can't just say, well, I really like Elizabeth, so I'm going to give her an A. If I want to give Elizabeth an A, she has to meet those criteria, right? And those criteria are things that describe a good essay, and if she matches those, then she gets her A, right? And similarly, I can't, if I just decide someday that I don't like Elizabeth anymore, I can't give her an F, right? If she's hitting those criteria, I still have to grant that it's a good paper, right? I do love you, Elizabeth. I'm just using you as an example. All right. So we just want to make sure that we understand that in any evaluation, it's about the criteria. It's not just a gut feeling, right? You can start with a gut feeling when you decide whether you like something or don't. But when you're evaluating it to explain and to convince people that you know why you like it and why you don't, that's where we have to have those criteria. So what were some of the criteria that you decided to talk about? In your outlines, what are your A, B, and C? What are your criteria that you've set out to discuss? I'm asking you what your 3 criteria are for your essay. Elizabeth, what are your criteria? Okay, so you looked at the violence in it. What was another criteria? Okay, okay, so the visual design. Great. Okay. Miles, what about you? What were some of the what were your 3 criteria that you judged your film on? The meaning of the message. Great. I love those. Savannah, what were your 3 criteria? Okay, great. For kids that had a wide range of an acceptable audience. Lovely. Okay. Tyson, what were your 3 criteria? Okay, well, thanks. I like those too. That it kept your interest, and that it had a good message. Is anybody doing a negative review? Elizabeth, talk to me. What do you didn't like it? Which one are you reviewing? You didn't like that one because of the violence and the animation was not your fave. Okay. Is anybody else doing a negative review? Y'all are too nice. All right. All right. All right. So one thing I am going to remind you is that we do need good development in this essay. Our body paragraphs need to be 10 to 12 sentences at least. We're working for an essay that is 750 to 1,000 words, so don't suddenly shrink this up. And one of the ways to get to that development, remember, is to use the essay jobs checklist for the thesis and the conclusion. There are specific jobs where if you do each job for a couple of sentences, you'll have the development that you need. And the other thing in the body paragraphs is to really think about talking about, let's say you're talking about the message. You talk about the message from the beginning, the middle, and the end of the film. And if you give 3 sentences to each of those, plus a topic sentence and a concluding sentence, that'll get you to 10, right? So just remember, if you're having a hard time developing, think about that criteria in the beginning for 3 sentences, in the middle of the movie for 3 sentences, at the end of the movie for 3 sentences, and that's a little bit of a formula that can help you expand. If you're really having trouble saying enough about one of your criteria, it might not be the most interesting criteria. What do you do? Like if you're saying, I didn't like the music, it was bad, it was irritating, I didn't like it, and that's all you can come up with, should you pick that as one of your criteria? Caitlin, talk to me. What do you do in that case? Right. If you're trying to complain about something or praise something and you can't do it for very long, then that's not your thing, right? Students will ask me for letters of recommendation, right? And if I can't write a nice, full, specific letter of recommendation with lots of specific praise about what that student has done well, I shouldn't be writing that essay, that letter. I should tell them to get one of their other professors to write that letter, right? If I agree to write the letter, I've got to make sure that I have this stuff to say and that I have it well developed, right? So just make sure that when you're praising something or criticizing it, that you use the detail and you explain yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. Concerns about this essay. All right, I want to take us into, I'm going to take us to a screen share, and I'm going to take us into weeks 13, and then I'm going to give you a little preview of weeks 14 and 15. All right, so we're in week 13. And week 13 is open to you. And you have there your criterion link that takes you to criterion. You are working in the evaluative essay, except for Darius, who apparently is going to be working in the only one he has left, which is the argument essay. You've got your video there to remind you of how to work effectively in criterion. And then you have the citation pattern for a film. Let's take a look at that. I want us to look at this. I am asking you to give a citation at the end of your essay for the film that you watched. And I'll go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. All right, control, let's just make that a little bit bigger. I'll move us over here so we're not blocking it. All right, so the pattern labels, I just want you to know what you're plugging into each part of the pattern. Last name, comma, first name, comma, director, period, and that's the name of the director. The film title, underlined or italicized with a period. The distributor, comma, and the year and a period, right? So for the example, we went over this last time. George Lucas is the director of Star Wars, so it goes Lucas, comma, George, comma, director, period. The movie title is Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, period. It was distributed by 20th Century Fox, comma, in 1977, period. Okay, now I've given you, because it was a little tricky to find in YouTube, I've given you the information that you need for these. I just haven't formatted that information. So I've told you the name of the director, that's first name, last name. I didn't put it in the reverse order. I've told you who distributed it and in what year. I've done the same for Pearl. It was directed by Kristen Lester, distributed by Pixar Spark Shorts, which is a little different than Pixar, in 2019. Big Buck Bunny, and this was the one that was really tricky, is by Sasha Godenberg, distributed by Blender Institute Amsterdam in 2008. Okay, so you just take that information and you plug it into that pattern following the example. There are questions about this citation? How many citations? Go ahead. It can be if you, it's just at the end of your essay, and it doesn't need a separate page of its own if it fits, but if it doesn't fit, just put it on the next page. Okay. Anybody else have questions about this? How many citations do you need? You're required to have one. However, if you use a dictionary or if you look something up on Wikipedia, how many would you have? Yes, don't look things up though. Please just give your own review. I haven't asked you to give background information on these films. I haven't asked you to give a background on the director. I haven't asked you to tell me the meaning of the word bow. I haven't asked you for any of that. I've asked you simply whether you like the film or not. And you don't need to look anything up to know whether you liked a film and why, right? So make sure that you're writing just about the film from your own viewing of it. Any other questions about this citation pattern? Okay, just to remind you, that does mean that you should be working in Word so that you have access to the appropriate formatting that you need in your essay, okay? All right, I wanted to talk briefly about last week and last week's grades in general. I'm not going to talk about any one person's grades, of course, but let's talk about it. I want to make sure that you are able to go into week 12's grade and see your grade and see the feedback. And if you can't see the feedback, definitely let me know. I want to talk about anybody who got a 1. A 1 is kind of like an exclamation mark. It's not a real grade. It's not a real grade. A 1 is there to let you know that there was a problem with me reading it, right? I couldn't access it. I couldn't open it. And that's not a real grade. That doesn't reflect your effort or your intelligence or your ability to pass the essay. It just means I couldn't read this for some reason. I couldn't open your link. I couldn't see the edge of your paragraph. Something happened where I couldn't see it, right? So make sure that you look at the feedback and figure out what happened. And I will go back in and grade them again tomorrow, okay? If you turned in your first one on time, I'll grade it as on-time work. You tried to put it in there, there was just a glitch, and I'm gonna grade it as on-time work. Okay, if your first upload was in there on time, if there was a glitch. So that's for the ones out of 200s. And that, I know that's wreaking havoc on your grade right now. Please don't freak out. I'll go in tomorrow. If I can see it now, I'll grade it again and you'll be all set. Okay. Other grades. If you scored less than 70%, it's not a passing grade yet. You got a 50 or a 60%. I would like you to revise it. I'd like you to try again, okay? You look at the feedback and improve it and try it again. If you earned, and this is everybody else, if you earned an A or a B or a C, congratulations. This is the hardest essay all semester, and to pass it is a coup. I very often have about half a class have to try again. So if you passed it, I'm really, really proud of you. Now, in our last 2 weeks, we will be getting ready for our exams. And one of our exams is to revise this research essay and put it in for, it's going to be called, I think it's in here, let me look. Student evaluations. It's called the Revised Research Essay Final Exam. And it's one of 2 exams that we have. The other exam is going to be live during our exam time, okay? And I'll talk to you about that next week, and I'll tell you when the exam time is. But in week 15, you'll have the opportunity to put that revised research essay in one more time. So if you got an A, all you need to do is upload it again. Yay, you have an A, upload it again, you're done, okay? But if you have a B or a C, you have the opportunity to take the feedback that you got and go back in and improve it one more time and get a higher grade. And when that happens, the higher grade not only counts for this revised research essay final exam, which is required of everybody. I'll also go back into week 12, actually week 11, it was in week 11, wasn't it? I'll go back into week 11 and upgrade your grade in the week 11 assignment as well. So if you got a C and you look at that feedback and you improve it for that week 15 assignment, for that week 15 exam, you have the opportunity to bring your grade up to a B or even an A in both places. So that's pretty exciting. All right, are there questions about that? That's it. If you got a C and you're happy with a C, just upload it again. If you got a B and you're happy with a B, just upload it again. I would encourage everybody who didn't already have an A to push for that A because it can't hurt you. A little bit of extra work never hurt anybody, and it could improve your grade. So I suggest everybody hustle for it. It is required of everybody. Even somebody who got an A still needs to upload it here. Somebody who, but everybody is required to put it in there. And if you don't, you'll have a 0 for that exam, and that would be horrible. Please don't get a 0 on an exam just because you forgot to upload something, okay? Other questions about that? I can look at the exam schedule with you, but I plan to put information up about that next week. The exam usually starts in week 15, usually at the beginning of week 15, and then we have an exam time, and the exam time is set by the college. So I'll show you how to find your exam schedule if you'd like. So you go to the Lawson website and you click on current students, and they've moved it a little bit, so I need to double check it here. Dual enrollment, tuition, financial, registration, scheduling, tutor help desk. Really? You're gonna bury it, huh? All right, let's see. Schedule classes, add or drop. Hang on. Huh. It used to be here in a really obvious place. That's why I'm trying to see where they moved it to. Click add or drop, withdraw, my Lawson coming soon. Student catalog. Well, shoot, I look dumb. Let's see, online resources, maybe it's there, but it shouldn't be there. Forms, bookstore, grade appeals. We don't want to do that. Okay, let me do a search for exam schedule. Let's see if I can find it that way. All right, final exam schedule. It just got buried. Never give up, just look for that search. So spring 2020, that's not the one we want. We want the, okay, it looks like it might not be up yet, which is a little bit weird. I'll double check on that and figure it out. I'll ask the dean today, and then, as I said, I was planning to go over it next week, and now we see why. All right, I'll get that for us and let you all know as soon as I know. Okay, you have a major assignment due at the end of this week, and you have one class, which is today, to make sure you get your questions answered about it. Do you need more help, or do you know what you're doing? Correct. You know how to write a paper now. I want you to show me that. Yeah, let me go ahead and put that due, I'll update that due date. Thank you for that. All right, let's get this due date rolling. As with all major assignments, it is due at the end of the week, which is Sunday. So that is, no, not May 3rd. That's dumb. June, July, August, September, October, November. We are on the 9th. It is due on the 15th by 11:59, and we'll save that. All right. Good question. Any other questions about that? All right. We definitely want to use 3 criteria. Your topic sentences should be one of the reasons I liked it was, another reason I liked it was, the third reason I liked it was. So we need criteria. We absolutely do not want to go to a summary of the movie. Okay, so again, let's take a look at that. I think last week, one of the things that we looked at was the sample evaluative essay. Let's take a look at their topic sentences, because I think that's a really great thing about this essay are their topic sentences. Okay, and that the topic sentences tell us what their paragraphs will be about, so we can really have a good, clear sense of what we're aiming for here. Now, remember, they were writing about a restaurant, and you're writing about a short film, but I've underlined their topic sentences. So the first one says, as soon as you walk into the restaurant, you're greeted with a smile, and this great service is the way the whole restaurant is run. So that whole paragraph is about the good service. Okay, that's their first criteria. Their second topic sentence says, not only is the service good, but the food is amazing. So their second criteria is food, and they spend the whole second paragraph talking about the food, right? In their third body paragraph, their topic sentence says, as I said earlier in the essay, the restaurant is located off Lakeshore Exit, which makes it very convenient. And the convenient location is their third criteria, and they spend their whole paragraph talking about that third criteria. Okay, so they're not just giving a story of how they went to the restaurant and ate the food and this happened and then they left. That's how we organize a narrative essay, right? But we're not doing a narrative, and we're not doing a summary of the movie. I've seen all the films, so you don't need to tell me what happens. I know what happens. What I need you to do is set out the criteria of I liked it or disliked it because 1, because 2, and because 3. Does that make sense? Awesome. I love that. Absolutely. So if you one of the things that you liked about it was that it was funny, then you pull some funny things from the film for your details. Absolutely. Yeah. If I actually, why don't we talk about transitions for a second? I'm going to take you to a website. Um, ugh, so annoying. Hold on. The Zoom thing covers up my browser bar, so it's a little tricky sometimes. Okay, so Purdue OWL transitional phrases. And this is a great site, and I'll actually take this link and put it in your class. So I'm going to go ahead and get that link in there real quick, and I'll put that in this week. Let's see. We're in week 13. I'll put it right at the top. And we're talking about transitional phrases. And make that visible. Save that. Wow, I did not type that right. I will edit that. All right, so I'll edit that in a sec, but right now I want to take a look at some of these transitional phrases. If you're working on your topic sentences and you're trying to get a variety of transitional phrases, this is a great place to go because it just gives you a little bank of them. And it puts them in categories. So if you're trying to add or compare or prove or show time or sequence or give an example or summarize or to emphasize or to repeat, it gives you a whole little list of phrases that you might use to make that transition, right? And remember, as you're choosing from that list, make sure you're choosing things that you're comfortable with, that you've used before, and that you understand the meaning of, and that you understand the usage for. So if you've never dealt with moreover, maybe this isn't the place. I think moreover might be a little overblown for what we're trying to do, but certainly there's lots to choose from here, and that link is now in there. So I'd love to see some of these make their way into your essay. So that's a great question. Other questions? It is a thesis paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. Standard. Well, last time it was an argument essay. So, yeah, the outline just tells me that you have a plan. You don't need to go back and change it for me, just change it for you and move on. Yeah. There's not much point. I mean, there for the grade, unless your grade is low for the outline. But if you get a good grade for the outline, which you should know by the end of the day tomorrow, if you get a good grade for the outline and you want to change it, just change it. Do what you know will make a good essay. And move forward. The outline is a means to an end. It's there to make sure that you're planning this essay instead of just barreling through it. It's there so that I can make sure everybody's on track and that nobody is summarizing. But you don't need, if you've, this is one of those assignments where you can get an A for being on track. But if you need to change it to make your essay better, then do that and make your essay better. Okay, good question. Other questions? Any other questions that we have about this work? Talk to me about my availability today, this week. Oh, it's never only for class time. I always have availability on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. If you need to meet with me in Zoom and talk about something, just send me an email and set up a specific time for us to meet in Zoom, and then we can meet in Zoom. I'm also available by email. I will be taking Wednesday off. So if you send me an email on Wednesday, I probably won't answer it until Thursday. But you certainly can have my attention and my help on Tuesday and Thursday and Friday. So don't hesitate to email a question, or if you're really struggling, ask for some Zoom time, and we'll log on and we'll get you sorted out. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop the recording, I think, because we've answered most of the major things, and we're going to go into work.